They say 7 heads together is stronger than one. Making plays, open J's, and the open run. If we talking about breaks and shooters filling lanes, all my dogs is down for war, you can tell how they train. Coaches coach and players play, but they learn from each other. If the roles are reversed, Jason Kidd, we assist one another. Making strides for a shift in the regular season, lacing up these nights, a band of brothers turning into some demons. Through the season, spring to fall, we gon' see who was working. When the winter hit the surface, gon' see who deserve it. Left competition in the dust, now the options deserted. Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Not just giving all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't fuck the system, take the knowledge, just study and learn it. Be as strong as the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to track me, saw it now, you know I had to thread the needle. You know I had to thread the needle, dry erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins eating. Yeah, you know I had to thread the needle, dry erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins eating.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Coaches Show. For the coaches, by the coaches. We have 2 amazing women head coaches in the area for high school basketball. We want to welcome Coach Latia Howard from Duval High School and Coach Angela Richmond from Ballou High School. Coaches, how y'all doing today?
Good.
I'm doing great.
Good to have you guys, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out on this good Monday to step in the Coaches Show with us, and we're gonna have some good questions for you guys. And like we always say, we ask the questions that we think that the people should know. So I'm gonna turn you over. The coaches have already prepared their pregame speeches. We ready to jump ball. I hope you guys are ready to get into it. First coach coming up is Coach John Kamara from Parkdale High School.
Coaches, how you guys doing? How you doing?
Good.
Doing good. Doing good.
Appreciate both of you guys for coming on. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to give you guys the floor in any order you guys want to go in. We want you to just tell the people about yourselves. Who's Latia Howard? Who's Angela Richmond? And how did coaching come about?
Want to start with me?
Yeah, you can go first, Coach.
Okay. Who's Latia Howard? So I'm a PG. Bred, went to Central High School, played ball Central, did well playing ball, all met, like you All-American. Chose Pitt, went to Pitt, had a good career at Pitt. Health came in the way of my career. But I ended up, coming back home to PG County, coaching at Duval, first year at Duval High School.
I'm Angela Richmond. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Funny story, how I ended up, of course I played high school basketball, but I wasn't as dedicated, or it wasn't anything that I really thought I wanted to do. I just knew I loved the game of basketball, but I ended up playing all 4 years. So a funny story is how I came to DC. I actually came to party and I didn't go home. And one day I was on a bus coming from, I worked for Delta Airlines, and a guy just was like, "You look like a basketball player." I was like, back in the day. And so he actually recruited me to, I think it was Marlboro County ball. And then from there I was recruited into AAU. Then I actually was asked to start the Metro Ball girls. But I just felt like, it was a better opportunity. So now I'm with Team Durant. I started off at Ballou High School as an assistant coach my first year. And then I took over the program for the past 3 years. And so I'm a little salty because you have your Parkdale screen on and we lost to them. And we came back from like 20 all the way and we still didn't win. So, but yeah, so I've been at Ballou for 4 years. I'm also a teacher there as well.
Great to hear you guys' insight. I definitely did hear about that Ballou versus Parkdale game. I apologize. I definitely heard about that game. But great to hear you guys' stories and how you came about coaching. So I'm going to pass it to Coach O at Bladensburg High School. He has the next question for you guys.
All right, coaches, man, that was great insight, to come to the DMV. They always say the Chocolate City is always a party spot. So that's
definitely got me.
To get you in. So coaches, we'll give you also another platform too, because a lot of times I know for myself and John, we started this thing, athletes supporting athletes, and we make sure that our basketball boys attend girls games when they can. We attend soccer games, we attend volleyball games, we attend, all the sports that we can to support one another, because we know the highlights sometimes Tennessee has to go to football and boys basketball. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to start with Coach Howard to talk a little bit more about Duval High School, your team, your players, and any accolades that we should know about or anything that we should know about your program.
So, as I know, first year at Duval, but my players are awesome. They want to learn. As soon as I took a job at Duval, so I previously coached, at other schools, all levels, college, elementary, to high. And when I took the job at Duval, I got an email the day I took the job from one of the players, want to know when can I get in the gym. So I was shocked to hear that I was embraced this way, and they gave me a big welcome. All the girls came out. They was ready to go in the gym and to work. They hadn't been in the gym any off season. So, it was an opportunity for me to have open ears for girls to give their best. And they did. They gave the best. Parkdale, we won one. Y'all won the second. We worked hard this year. And for my seniors, I wish I had another year with them. But I work in a school just like Coach Angie. So I'm with them every day, all day, dealing with academic study hall, walking them to class, helping them, in their classrooms. Had a lot of honor roll students, mostly honor roll students on my team. Outside of that, outside of working hard all season, during Christmas holiday, things like that, we also did a lot of volunteering, especially with the American Heart Association. We did the walks, we did a heart ball. As y'all know, I have a history. Like I said, a kid, my career ended suddenly. And when I mean suddenly, it wasn't a knee, it wasn't my arm, it was health. And it was, I had a stroke, I was completely paralyzed, and I had open heart surgery. So those areas mean a lot to me, and they wanted to just jump in and get involved with areas that meant a lot to me, just as I am with them. So, it was a good season. We had a great season. From my understanding, they look totally different from last year. But they give their all. They give their all. So I couldn't ask for a better bunch of girls who want to listen and take everything in and respectfully and give 100% on the floor.
Wow, you got a really good story. Very blessed. So as far as my program, it's really different. I work in a very different environment. We played a lot of games this year with 5 players. So one of the things that I feel like I was really blessed on, I really enjoyed, is that we weren't as talented as a lot of teams. So teams walked into the building just assuming they were gonna blow us out. Like my team, we don't really pass the eyeball test. And unfortunately, my best player, she is actually a mother. She got pregnant her 10th grade year. And me not having kids, I didn't realize how I pushed her to get back onto the court instead of letting her deal with that. So I look back on it now, and it's like, I probably should have waited and held her back. But this year she had an outstanding year. She's actually gonna get a full ride to St. Aug. She dropped 44 in one game. And it's really like exciting to be a part of that and to have molded her to, I just changed her whole life around. Well, she changed her life around. She was a trouble kid. And so, when she got pregnant, she was in so much trouble. I actually thought she was about to tell me that she was doing jail time. That's how much trouble she used to get into. But no, she ended up having a beautiful little girl, and our Ballou community has embraced that. I'm a teacher first, so academics have been really important to me because I don't want that to be a reflection of me. So I make sure that all my girls, I actually have 2 girls on my team, 3 on my team. We only have 6, but I have 3 on my team that have the highest GPAs in their grade. So we've done pretty good. I'm really big off team bonding. So we do a lot of relationships, a lot of trips. Like we go to basketball games when needed. We go, I'm also the volleyball coach, so I also push my basketball team and my volleyball team to support each other. We're really close with the boys team. Unlike PG County, we actually play together. So we play at 6, they play at 7:30 right behind us. So it's really big on supporting each other. And at Ballou, we just have fun. You know, I wish that I could put a little bit more talent in, but I feel like my girls have always showed fight. I mean, like I said, against Parkdale with 5 players, we're down by 20. We come all the way back. You know, we play Wilson, which is normally a powerhouse in our division. We're up by 12 the whole game with only 5 players. You know, unfortunately, foul trouble got us at the end. So it's just a really good experience. And even though we made it all the way to the state's championship, the best part about it is just the fight that they put in. Like, we weren't supposed to be there. So that itself was just a championship getting there. Nobody ever expected Ballou high school girls basketball team to get to the championship. So a great group of girls, the fight they displayed all year. I mean, everybody's always watching our game. We're at the Title IX tournament, and it's just like, everybody's like, I cannot believe they're just playing with 5 girls. And I'm telling you, it's not the best of talent of 5 girls, but they have a lot of fight. So it was a really exciting year. And I'm really excited to, you know, that my player that did have a baby still end up with a full ride, and that colleges have embraced her and have tried to put her have tried to help out with childcare. So it's been a real blessing within this situation. Ballou is very different. So, and I'm very proud to say that I'm a part of that program.
Well, thank you for that insight. And tell Mama we said hi.
That's actually my aunt, but okay.
But that's auntie, okay. And then so now what we both saying that too, and saying my prayers to both of you guys. When you said Heart Association, my father passed away from that last year, so I definitely will be tagging with you to do some special this upcoming 2021 season to get some more stuff out for the Heart Association. And then having 5 players for the whole season most of the time, that's kind of that's difficult. I know we all can agree to that. That's kind of hard to do. That's a lot of strategy going into that. So my next question too, to follow with that, what do you think from either side, DC and Prince George's County, what can be done to bring more visibility, not just to you all's program, but to ladies basketball as a whole? What do you think can be done? What do you look forward to trying to implement or try to do to make the game a little bit more, not exciting, but so people can come out and start seeing our young ladies play?
I think one, for me, I just know on my side, the exposure. I think people like Mizzou, Sports Mom, Stacy DMV have done a great job trying to expose, and especially Triple Threat have done a great job trying to expose girls basketball. I think a lot of times, you know, like with, even just in a game. So like I said, our boys play behind us. They get the announcements, they get the band to come out and play, and you know, and it's like, we need those same things at our games to be just exciting. So I think for me, like, whatever you give that boy side, whether it's a DJ at the game, the girls need a DJ at their game too. Like, you just have to be equal and give us those same opportunities.
I agree. I agree. I feel the same way. Being a first year at Duval, I was embraced like big time. And one of the things that they said that they noticed is that the boys and the girls team are more like a family this past year, basketball season. And I talked to, like you said, Coach Angie, the lady who, you know, does the announcements for the boys, and she is willing to do the same thing for the girls. So being able to reach out to those resources so that we do get equal access to everything that they do, and being a voice, being an advocate for my girls, like you said, in the school day, during the school day, because we educators, but and that always comes first. But as well as basketball, so being an advocate in that way, reaching out to resources, just like the other coach said, doing more for, he said, the Heart Association, doing more for that, finding resources to come out and support the girls, so different avenues to do that. So yes, I do agree with you.
All right, that's good insight, man. Like we said too, and I know myself, Chuck, John, Will over at Southern, we all piggyback off each other and try to get different ideas too, and we do an awesome job supporting our ladies as well. So I mean, we know it's a need for it. So you know, I'm glad for you put that insight out. Like I said, we asked the question that we think the people should know. You know, so our next question is coming from Coach Chuck Henry from Philmont.
Good afternoon, ladies. How y'all doing?
Hello.
All right, so just a real quick question. So one thing I hear that y'all talking about is like the talent, and what I see from box scores is like there's a huge talent gap between the good players and those novice players, and it seems like you only get one of the two. There's very few girls like in the middle. So tell me how do you coach that? Like, how do you coach? You know, first of all, what's your experience in dealing with both? And then two, if you have that novice player, how do you deal with coaching that novice player to try to get them to that next category? Let's start with Coach Angie.
I guess for me, one of the things that I've always tried to instill in my better players, is that great players make the players around them better. That player can only be as good as you push her to, as much as you work with her, as much as you give her instructions. Because at the end of the day, you are the one with her on the court. A lot of patience, a lot of skill development. You know, when I first started coaching when I was younger, I thought yelling was the key, but now I understand every kid doesn't react to that. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just all about respect and having an understanding that they have to learn and they have to get to where you are. And the same things I had to instill my players. They can't get better if you're not in here pushing them. And as well as, like, they have to work on their own. You guys have to get out there and get better outside of practice. That's where it all comes to play at. And I also try to, I want to say this, but I kind of make the plays, I mean, as any coach would, go around my best players, but I don't ever want my beginner players to feel like they're not involved. So even when I'm trying to design a play or give out instructions, I'll try to add, well, you know, you may not just be the best scorer, but if you could just fight for every rebound that comes down, you just helped your team get somewhere. If you can't get every jump ball to get on the floor, you helped your team somewhere. Everybody has a strength. And so I try to, like, hype those strengths up and just figure out a way to make it work on the court. But unfortunately, I work at a school where a lot of talent doesn't come in. I got blessed with the leading scorer this year. She's a bucket. I got blessed. That's all I'm gonna say.
So for me, I agree, Coach Angie. I tell my players in the beginning, every player is going to grow somehow. If you can't dribble, your dribbling will get better. You know what I mean? If you can't shoot, your shooting will get better. I think that, you know, commitment is the key, as you said. Commitment, teamwork, dedication, respect. And so in the beginning of the year, we had to start out, you know, just with a team meeting so that we can have respect for one another in that way. But I think as a whole, you have to coach a team and the individual needs of a player. So there has to be a breakdown sometime, you know, throughout the week on skill sets and forwards, guards. If you're great at rebound, get them boards. You know what I'm saying? If you're great at defense, be the best defender you can be. And I like to promote that, you know what I mean? Because I don't want the best player on my team to feel like she's carrying the whole team. When we got great rebounders, we got a great defender, we got a hustler, you know what I'm saying? We got a great three-point shooter, you know what I'm saying? Pointing those out, building upon it, and let them know their strengths. And I'm sitting down with them and let them know their strengths and their weaknesses and what they need to work on in that way. So yeah, I agree with you, Coach Angie. I think that as long as each player grows somehow, it can be the best player, but you know, each player should grow somehow. And as a coach, you have to find their strength and build upon their strength. And the weakness too as well.
Okay, absolutely. I definitely appreciate that because I know when I look at my JV and I look at my varsity, it's like looking at two different programs. My JV generally doesn't get a whole lot of talent, and my varsity is normally like really good. And so I always struggle with that myself because I'm like, all right, I want to teach my JV all of the offense that we do varsity-wise because on varsity we ice ball screens, we play tons of different styles of defense. We press, we track, then we play some pack line, you know, then we play some zone. I can't really do that with my JV a lot of times. It's like, all right, let's just do this one simple thing. So now that's great insight even for me on the boys' side. You know, I think that's one thing that most people don't realize is women's basketball is the purest form of the art. And like, if you can watch a women's basketball game, you'll be able to like pick some things that you can be like, all right, her women's footwork is incredible. Most guys, we're absolutely off balance when we play. So I always love watching women's basketball to really kind of pick those things apart and see, like, you know, if you watch Diana Taurasi, man, her game is just at a whole nother level because her balance is just incredible. So, and I'm going to kind of back up to the previous question in regards to the exposure. I'm the president of the Coaches Association for the boys side. The one thing in PG County, the one thing suggestion I would give is organize. It's the best way to get exposure, because if you're looking to try to do it from just the Duval point of view or just from a Ballou point of view, it's going to be very difficult because, like you said, you don't always get the top talent. But you know what? If you bring the entire county together, and Coach Howard, I think we spoke on the phone when I called you and told you about your girl making all county.
Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah. So, just things like that help. And honestly, we haven't been able to organize on the girls' side because realistically, most of the women's coaches don't talk to each other. But on the men's side, we're all in one group chat. And we talk literally every day. So that would be my suggestion in regards to the exposure, organize. Because the more teams and programs you have together, pooling talent, it's easier for the media and it's easy for college coaches to reach out to you.
That's a good idea. Thank you for that idea. And I do agree. Because I like you, when you called me that time, I wasn't even familiar. Excuse me. I didn't even know that my girls, had made it. So, learning, the meetings, things like that, getting insight and even creating, starting a group chat of our own, starting with the people I do associate with and building on that. So that's informative. Thank you.
No problem. So if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I will make sure you got my information. And then, because we've been looking to try to grow the women's side, but we're not involved with it. So, it makes it a little bit easier when we have somebody that's, in the battle to kind of help push it forward.
For sure. Yeah, please share your information.
So right now I am going to pass it over to, I think, Coach Will Maynard down at Southern High School. Thank you again, ladies, for your time.
Good afternoon, coaches.
Hello.
First off, I'd like to say that it's nice to meet y'all and learn about you two. Being stuck down here in the county and stuff like that, I don't really get out too much to see, other basketball, especially on the women's side. The only women's basketball I really get a chance to watch is pretty much our team, because just like DC, we have double headers where the girls play before us. But you know how it is. When you have a game right afterwards, you can enjoy a game because you're focused on your game and stuff like that. But I always told myself, I have a little cousin that's a good basketball player, and I told myself that I wanted to start reaching out to more female coaches just to help her out in her process, especially with her coming up soon with her possibly, being able to garner a scholarship and stuff like that. So it's just good to be able to get insights from female coaches because I don't know too many. So my question to the both of y'all, I'll let Coach Howard answer first, is tell me about your league and how does it compare to other leagues across the state?
So the conference that we're in, is that what the conference that we're in?
Yeah.
It's definitely competitive for us, especially it being the first year kind of, developing a new program. And I have great coaches on my staff. Shout out to Coach D and Coach Z. And I was laughing when the other coach was talking about JV compared to varsity. Yes, that is true about the practices and things like that. It's competitive, but, I'm sure Coach Angie can agree. We like competition. We're not going to back down to anybody. I feel like my team is totally talented. Each person brings something to the floor. And so it's just showing it every time is the key. And so that didn't always happen for us. Not every game everybody showed up, but definitely major improvements since the beginning to the end. And I think, you know, once you break down, you get that respect. They want to respect you. They want to do for you. They want to give their all, especially when you got someone telling them that they're talented and they can do it. So I think our conference is competitive. Great games this season. But definitely improving. Next year, looking forward to major improvements. Too bad the off season is in the home right now, but I enjoy being in the conference and learning about the other teams and the background of the other teams. And all the coaches seem welcoming. So my conference was a good, you know, treated us well. It's competitive. It's fair. And the coaches all seem respectful. And, you know, just looking forward to playing in the conference next year and getting that competition, creating a schedule where we play, you know, like Coach Angie, other teams outside of our county, and not backing down, but giving 100%, going against the best, and so we can learn and we can grow from the best. So, yeah.
So how many out of conference games do you get a year?
So this year, I want to say we did 3 out of conference games. We did Title IX too. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the first time in a while they did Title IX. And again, we did that because I wanted them to have competition. I want them to see other teams and feel that, have that environment. So we did those. We had 2-3 games in Title IX. So probably about 4 or 5 games out of conference. I'm not looking at any schedule in front of me or something like that.
Thank you. Coach Angie?
My league is a little different. I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of a dog-eat-dog world over there because we have to compete for these kids. So the kids don't necessarily go to the school that they are assigned to. They get to pick and choose their school. So it's literally a recruiting process year-round. So Dunbar pretty much dominates our league. They're a pretty tough team. They're very athletic. From the bench to just their starters, it never stops. Like, they are very, very athletic. And she's done a great job building that program and pulling those recruits in. And of course, you know, right now they're the team winning. So a lot of kids are choosing that particular school to go to. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm recruiting, I just tell a kid, you know, I can't promise you that championship, but I can promise you is, you know, that I have your back, that I'm in the building, so I'm able to support you or advocate for you, and that you will get playing time, you know, because like I said, we've been a program with necessarily 5 or 6 players pretty much throughout the year. But I think this year was one of the better years that a lot of the coaches had actually started talking to each other. I definitely know I developed a relationship with Anacostia coach. We actually did a practice where the Bowie coach came out and watched our girls. He invited me to that. So our relationship has definitely gotten better. Bell coach has been a big advocate of mine and big supporter. He came to almost every game that we had when they weren't playing. So I think the relationships have gotten better over the years with new coaches coming in, and we're starting to work together a little bit more. But I know at the end of the day, we are all we're going after the same kids. So it's really hard to pull those kids in. But as far as our league, I think this is the most competitive that it's been in a long time, with the exception of Dunbar. On any given night, anybody could be beat. I had a big score. Eastern had a big score. Banneker had a big score. You know, so it was pretty open, with the exception of that one team, because we were a pretty dominant team and we lost to a team you would be like, how? So I think our league was the competitive that's been in the past 4 years that I've been there. Anna dominated when we first started, and so now it's Dunbar's turn. And it's so funny because I don't really know the history of a lot of games. And my first year, we were playing HD, and I think we were beating them by like maybe 40 or 50 points. And just to give you a little mentality of how the coaches are thinking, my assistant coach was like, no, don't take your starters out. HD was running it up on us for years. Like, no, they deserve this, you know, but I don't know that because I'm not from here.
Yeah.
So, you know, and so that just kind of tells you the mentality of the coaches and how they are, and just the environment that it is. But, and as far as the league with the girls, it's just kind of like, in my opinion, each team just has that one score, and it's like the battle of those particular scores and how are the other players really going to step up that day. So I think our league wouldn't really do well outside of, so we don't do well when we play the Maryland schools. Like we played Susan this year.
Why do you think that is?
First of all, Maryland definitely has more bodies. Maryland girls are a little bit more committed. You know, a lot of the girls that come out of DMV are particularly in Maryland schools. You know, in the DCIAA, there are a dime a dozens that may come out, as well as just the particular resources. Like I told you, my best player, she probably could cook 5 girls that play for a particular Maryland school, but she has a daughter, so AAU doesn't work for her, so she can't play year round. So you know, it's just a little different as far as the resources that they have. But I noticed when our league plays the WCAC schools, and when we play the Maryland schools, we don't come out with a win too often. But we definitely.
If y'all need wins, I can get you. If y'all need wins in our league, I can tell you and Coach Howard who to play. Trust me, I can get y'all wins out of Maryland in my league. Now, how many? I'm not too familiar with DC. How many games do y'all get?
We could play up to 28 or 32, but a tournament counts as one game. So Title IX will be one game. She Got Game tournament will be one game. So you can play you can fill your schedule all the way up. I think I played 8 this year, non-league games. So you want to have a nice non-league schedule because in our league, that's how you make state.
Dang, I wish we had that in Maryland. I'm gonna have to bring that to the board and talk to the state. And maybe we need to learn from you guys because I know a lot of coaches I know would love to get that many games. Definitely.
Yeah, so we can pack our schedule pretty much with the tournaments, and that's where you kind of get your reps in to prepare for playoffs.
Well, I appreciate you elaborating on that question, and I'm gonna pass it back to John Kamar of Parkdale.
All right, so my question goes to just specifically Coach Angie. Funny story. I started coaching AAU like in 2015, and my first game ever was against you at the Metro Ball of Wilson. Then we beat y'all in the championship too. I'm my first game ever coaching AAU. So,
you was first to bring up y'all beat us in the championship. Go ahead. Sick of you.
So my question to you is, how was your experience coaching boys? I'm looking from the other side, on the other side of the sideline. How does boys respond to a woman coaching them? And then my second part of the question is, where do you think the merger is at between girls AAU and girls high school at this point? Like, what's the relationship between that right now?
So to answer your first question with Metro Ball, that's probably the hardest thing I ever did in my life. So it wasn't necessarily about the boys per se, because, they respected me, because at the end of the day, just any kid wants to know if you're knowledgeable of the sport, as well as I've got out there a few times and I played with them. So I felt like I did them a disservice though, because I really didn't have like a coaching staff to back me up. So there was just certain things like boys need, like I can do post moves with you all day, but to really have to get back there and push you to show you how it's going to be game was a little different. So I actually just filled in that year. I was never supposed to do that. It was a great learning experience when I look back on it now. I wish I had known the things that and you really don't get a lot of respect as a woman coaching on the boys' side. Like and to be honest, I'm pretty sure you've noticed I don't really pass the eyeball test. So just walking in the gym period with my boys is kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then as far as like just the connection, oh wait, I do remember. No, don't refs was on your side. Don't even go there. I remember that now. No refs was on your side. They was just giving y'all any day.
Oh my God.
You trying to hear that? No
That sounds like John paying off some refs.
I thought about that. No, and y'all only beat us by like 2 or 3. So y'all was anyway. Anyway, so the connection with high school girls basketball, like I just stated before, I feel like Maryland has that upper hand. A lot of them kind of do have the 2-parent homes. A lot of them can't afford it. A lot of them have those particular resources to reach out. As opposed to in DC, it's not that they can't play AAU, but they don't really have the transportation to get to AAU. They don't really have money to pay for AAU. So I guess I would say, just from being with Team Durant, the exposure is there for those particular girls in the tournaments that we play in. But there's a lot of girls on the circuit that could play on the circuit that just don't have the money to get there. And so that is kind of the reason why I even started Metro Ball for those particular girls. But it's kind of a system to where you put all your money into it, your time and your effort into it. So it's a little different, but I do think that the girls' side is definitely growing. I do think that more girls are getting into school because there's more opportunities. Growing up, we just thought it was D1, but you have D2, you have D3, you have JUCO. So, and we have social media now to have access to those particular girls.
Appreciate that insight, but me from the outside looking in, you definitely had them boys playing. I remember y'all beat like Maryland Defenders and a couple other teams to make the championship. So y'all did an excellent job, and in that championship game, we definitely got a lot of calls.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know. So I'm going to pass it back to Coach Will Maynard. He has another question.
Coach Howard, this next question is just for you. You playing basketball at the University of Pittsburgh, how will you encourage or give advice to the next girl who wants to make it to the Division I level, or for that, any other level?
I always say to my girls to give 100% at all times, on the floor and in the classroom. And I say it all the time to my girls. And I give them the example of the fact that, and I say this, and I tell my story gradually, my whole story gradually to my girls throughout the season, depending on what's going on in the game, what I feel like they need to hear. But the one thing I always emphasize is giving 100%. And I say, one day, I was leading scorers at Pitt. One day, I was being recruited into the WNBA. One day I could run, one day I could jump, and the next day I couldn't. The next day I couldn't run. The next day I couldn't jump. The next day I couldn't talk or walk. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could get that day back where I could run my sprints faster, where I could run the floor faster, where I could, when I could jump up higher, things like that. And so I said, you have that. You have that ability. You have that ability. You're talented. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't give 100% on the floor, it's never going to show. You're never going to be able to show coaches your talent. You're never going to be able to show the fans and the audience, the people in the crowd, your talent. So I share that story with them all the time. Encouraging words is to give 100%, to not think you're bigger than the team. Be a leader on the floor. You don't have to be the best, the top player, but you can lead your team. You could be the one that scores the least amount, or the one that's on the bench who never comes off. But you can lead. You can lead your team. So I try to build leaders and players who want more, who crave to know more about the game. And to tell them, you know what I'm saying, you have to be coachable. You have to be coachable. You have to be able to give everything you got. You know what I'm saying? Because what if? What if? And my job, of course, is to, try to get them out there as much as possible, to get them seen, to get them, but if they're not going to give 100%, and probably all the coaches would agree, you know what I'm saying? If my best player has an attitude and can't get themselves straight for their team, they'll sit down. We'll take that L, but you're going to sit down, you're going to learn your lesson. You know what I'm saying? You're going to watch your team play. You're going to watch people out there that's giving 100%, that's working as a team. You're going to watch them play, and then you're going to figure out, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have a discussion. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure it out together. You know what I'm saying? How you can grow, how you can fix your attitude, how you can make yourself better. And I tell them all the time, you're not coachable if your attitude is incorrect. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has to be a leader. Everyone has to give their all. So, I try to encourage and motivate my team all the time, and I share my story all the time with them. And sometimes, players need to hear that, need to see that example in front of me. Where Coach Howard can walk, Coach Howard went through this. Coach Howard was in the hospital. She, you know what I'm saying? She went through this, dang. And I'm able to do this. I'm able to run the floor. I'm able to, let me do this for myself. Let me do this for Coach Howard. Let me do this for my team. You know what I'm saying? And so I try to encourage them in that way, to be able to build and to grow as a player.
That was some great advice. I mean, that's great advice. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to use your story talking to my kids, because I think a lot of kids don't understand how fast this could be taken away from you. They think that, you're going to be able to play forever, and that's not the case. That's why when I talk to my players, two things I always tell our kids when I talk to my players is, like, when kids say they want to play certain levels, I always tell them, your work ethic tells me what level you want to play. Because I tell kids all the time, you want to be a Division I basketball player, you don't understand. It's a job. I went Division II. It was a job at Division II. You know what I mean? But these guys' livelihoods, it's not like me. I can stop coaching tomorrow and still survive. These coaches, this is their livelihood, and they get fired. I mean, they're in trouble. This would be like if their parents got fired from a job. So, but I definitely love that advice that you give kids and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to be using your story as an example to let my kids know not to take the game for granted, because at the drop of a dime, it can be taken from you.
Yeah, I think it's just their needs, and it could be anything. It could be anything that happened. It can in a career, in a career period. And like Coach Andy said before, academics is most important. You know what I'm saying? So you have to go to class. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to do what you have to do in school to even be visible to any coach. So it's on and off the floor. And the reason I say that is because when I did have my stroke at Pitt, basketball was everything to me. So I was like, what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? What's my next step? I didn't even know what I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? What I wanted to get out of school. And I'm at University of Pittsburgh, a wonderful school, and I didn't even know, my next step outside of basketball, and which is crazy, So, academics got to be first all the time, and then you'll be able to be marketable in that way. Commitment is important. You know what I'm saying? When I said Saturday practices are mandatory, they looked at me like, what? Mandatory? Yeah, they're mandatory. You know what I'm saying? So, being able to commit to things like that, yes, you can share my story. And I just feel like I owe my seniors. I wrote a book about it. It was just a book, like a testimony of what I went through. And shout out to my seniors. I got to get them the book. I told them they get the book at the end of the season. I got to get it to them, even though we're here at home. I still want to get it to them so they can have the whole story at hand, because they're eager to hear the whole story. They're eager to read the whole story about me, that I went through the stroke and the heart and things like that. So just being committed, dedicated, helps you become a better player.
Now, and props to you, shout out to you, because there's a lot of people that have life experiences that definitely could share their story, that choose not to, and that shows how strong of a person you are. and, you know, telling your story, and we appreciate that. And that story, I guarantee it's going to be a lot of kids that's going to learn from your story, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
And I'm going to pass it on to Coach Chuck Henry at Fairmont Heights.
All right. So my question to you is, all right, so both being educators, so right away, I'm going to tell you, I'm not in the building. I work in the federal government. So this is like my second job. So being in the building, one, is that an advantage or a disadvantage? Two, in regards to your players being in your classroom, how is that dynamic? Because I always wonder, you know, what it's like being a coach and being a teacher as well. And then three, how's the personal relationship? How do you make all those relationships kind of gel, or do you keep them separate, or, you know, how do you go about that? So I'm gonna go Coach Howard first.
So I don't really have my players. I do have one JV player. She's in one of my classes. But
what do you teach? I'm sorry, I should ask that.
So I'm English, ninth grade English. Okay. So I only have three ninth graders on the varsity team. Started out with 2 and then bring somebody up from JV. I've never been in a building with my players before. So when I took Duval's job, they was like, you know, your qualifications, you can teach high school. You certified in high school. I didn't even know I was certified in high school. And I was like, really? Let me look it up, you know. And so I really was certified to teach, you know, high school. And so when I came in the building, I didn't know the benefits. I didn't realize how beneficial it is to be at the school that I coach at. They come to me at lunchtime. They're with me at the beginning of the school day. I see them every period. You know what I'm saying? I you know, get to class on time. You know, high school students, they take their good old time to get to classes. The teachers, you know, the ones I got a relationship with text me. The others email me. The others stop me. It could be little stuff like, you know, such and such had an attitude today when I spoke to her, and then I'm like, oh, she's right here. Come right here. Let's talk. You know, so being able to be hands-on in that way is a beautiful thing. And one of the administrators told me, you know, she's never seen a team gel like this before. We're deep in the hallway, you know, walking. You know, I'm never by myself, but I try to, you know, just like Coach Andy helping the young lady, you know, who's pregnant. I try to be there for them academically, for basketball, and any situations outside of that. Related to their family, their friends. So I try to be there for them as a whole, you know, as a whole person, as a whole body. And I just think it's definitely beneficial for me to, you know, I'm definitely glad that I took the teaching position at Duval along with the coaching position, because I skipped from elementary. It's funny, I taught elementary in the county for years, and I skipped always from elementary to high school. To coach at Duval, I took that at high school. I got a son who's in high school, so I kind of know the attitudes and all the team stuff, but I'm definitely glad, you know, that I did that, and definitely see the benefits of it all.
Okay. Now, it's probably a good thing that you skip from elementary school straight to high school, because in middle school, they are ruthless.
I heard. I heard.
So, yeah. All right. So, Coach Angie.
I teach 12th grade. I don't deal with anybody but seniors.
What subject?
I teach DC history and government in College Summit. So at the end of the day, I pay my bills by being a teacher. So I fail everybody, whether they're a player, a manager, a cameraman, anybody can get an F in my class. But at the end of the day, you have to do this work. I'm not going through any scandal. It's not going to be, oh, well, she didn't do it. No, everybody gets the F regardless. Everybody is held accountable for the work. For me, it's been a gift and a curse because I've kind of always been the cool teacher. So, you know, people will think, oh, Ms. Richmond's cool. No, Ms. Richmond will fail you. You know, but I definitely try not to bring the classroom into my gym per se, just because you know, kids act different. Kids act different who they can act different with. By being a gift, I can stay on my players. I can check in with teachers. I can check their grades. Like, I can help them when it needs to be helped. But as a curse, it could just be, I'm walking in the morning at like 7:15 and, oh, well, so-and-so won't stop talking in class. And in my mind, it's like, why you didn't tell her to be quiet? Like, why are we having this conversation? Instead of like, oh, she got into a fight. You know, like, being in the building is every little thing. Like they can drop gum on the floor and be, oh, she dropped gum on the floor. You know, I would rather deal with the situations of the problem. But it's just like, whatever they do, I'm also held accountable for. So it's good that I can know what's going on, but it's like I have to handle every little tad bit thing that happens. But like I said, I'm an educator before anything. So I make sure that everybody does their work. I make sure that everybody's held accountable in their way. I've never really had, I mean, most kids respect me, so I've never really had to deal with that. Like I said, I have seniors, so by that time, they're just trying to get out of the building.
Okay. Now that gives me great insight because I'm always trying to balance this time between my career and then family, as well as getting to the school. I'm basically just speeding from Arlington or Alexandria or, wherever I'm at for work. I mean, heck, I've had times where I literally am just sort of flying back into town and I got to get to the school. But just kind of knowing what, where it comes from with you ladies in regards to your teams definitely helps me out because I'm considering having somebody in the building next year.
Yeah, it's a big help.
Hopefully it helps me a little bit. I mean, my principal will email me or text me, just like you said, if somebody dropped a piece of paper in the hallway, it's not just the big things, but it's the little things too. And, I completely understand it. The little things kind of add up, but I appreciate, all the insight that you've given. So I'm going to pass it back to Coach O, and he has a question. I think we're going to wrap it up for the day.
Yeah, thank you, Coach Chuck. Great insight, man. I'm sitting here taking my notes, man, and just try to do this every day to try to figure out, like what Coach Will said, outside of knowing Coach Butler at our school, I don't really communicate with women coaches as well. So I mean, it's definitely.
Hey, let me say this one thing. So, just backing up to when she talked about how she coached the boys for Metro Ball. My very first year in Germany when I played, my coach was a female. The most insightful coach that I've ever had. So I wanted to throw that point in there.
Yeah, and right before you jumped in, I was just gonna say about Coach Butler. I spent a lot of time, and it's good to have a legend in my mind. 30 plus years coaching, been to the state championship, seen him take a girl that couldn't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time to her getting a Division I scholarship her senior year. I seen the work, and I often watch him and how he does things and pick his brain a little bit as well. So we definitely appreciate you guys. But this question right here on my ask, I guess is two sides to it as well, a positive and a negative. What are your thoughts on Title IX, Coach Howard? Because I see you thinking.
I was thinking. I just like we talked about earlier, just being have equal access to what the boys have, as any female coach is an advocate for it, I just want equal opportunity for all, and just like how the gym's always packed against Parkdale, and I just practice Parkdale, but the rest of the games, we may not have as many, but just promoting my athletes, promoting girl athletes. Being able to have them, accessible by finding resources for them, getting them out there as much as possible through any resource that we have. And I just feel like, first of all, I'm happy that you all did, this show. I'm happy to be on the show with Coach Angie, another female coach. I'm like Coach Angie. I want to build relationships, amongst each other. I want to figure out, how to be more involved. I think it was Coach Henry, to be more involved with the coaching association. Just like they got to group me, just to create the space, where girls are promoted, women are promoted, resources are available. And I think the opportunity is there, and I'm just going to continue to push. My girls can continue to promote Duval High School girls basketball, and tap into as many resources as I can. But, equal for, girls and boys across basketball, across anything. So, yeah, that's my feeling about it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Coach on that part. But I definitely use Title IX to my advantage. I make sure we practice in the main gym. I put games in the main gym. I be hogging the main gym so much. So, we have 2 gyms. So I hog it. I try to use whatever advantage I can get out of Title IX. I try to use it. If the boys get Nikes, I'd be like, we need some. Whatever they get, I'm the first one to be like, well, we don't have that, or we have this. And it probably gets pretty annoying. But again, like, you just try to your platform on the same platform as the boys, if not better. Definitely in my mind, I probably wouldn't say this to him, but I would definitely try to have a better record. I was trying to make sure all my girls got into school. Like, in my mind, I compete with the boys program a lot, even though we work together and we definitely look out for each other. But I definitely try to stay a step ahead. But and I just try to make sure my girls get what they need at the end of the day. Like, I try not to really base it all off sometimes, like just, well, the boys got this, so we need that. But just as long as we're being treated fair. But in reality, we know what it is. It's a tough world out there. Something as simple as I've seen coaches will chase a ref to the sideline, chasing them, and you say one thing to a coach and it's a text. I think I got like 8 texts this year. I think I got 2 in the Parkdale game. I don't know how they let me stay in it. I've never gotten as many texts before. So it's just, I guess it just is what it is. And I think for many people, like just reps or in general, I just think it's just, who is she talking to? And not only am I a woman, but I look like a little baby too. So, I think they feel some type of way about me a lot of times. So, but at the end of the day, you just want to be fair. You just want to make sure your girls have the same resources as everybody else.
Man, that's good insight, man. Good to hear that too about Title IX. A lot of times as men's coaches in high school, we have a tendency to forget. But with working with the coaches that's on this drive right board panel, we kind of like remember, like we already had you guys locked in. Like, we just got to figure out a day to get them all both together, because it's a good opportunity, not just for us, but for the people out there that don't understand what the ins and outs of, what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis. So I really appreciate that. And to go off of what Chuck said, that association that we created, it's awesome. That's one thing I think that a lot of times that the ladies should do is communicate a little bit more, so you can get more with more people, and people can understand that you made business. So I really think that's a great idea as well for the ladies. So I'm gonna let Chuck has one more thing he wants to add to the topic today.
All right, so just kind of a rebuttal question to the Title IX question. So I know at Fairmont Heights, we fundraise for everything, or I pay for things out of my pocket. So what would you say to a coach, one of the men's coaches, who say, well, I can't pay for both boys and girls to get new uniforms, or, if I buy pregame meals for my guys, why would I have to buy them for the women? I think that's a question that definitely will help a lot of men on men's basketball coaches. So what would be your rebuttal for someone who fundraises for all of this stuff and the school doesn't pay for it? So how does Title IX come into effect if, the different organizations pay for their own stuff?
Well, for me, sharing is caring. No, really, I don't know. So like, I'll just give you an example. And be very transparent. So this year, our boys end up getting a scholarship. They got $4,000 donated to them. And, the end of the day, it's not my money. I don't have a say-so in that. But I also felt like I had 5 players. So what was going to hurt 5 more players? I just felt like at the end of the day, like, we all should be about the kids. We're a program. Even though there's some girls in a boys program, at the end of the day, it's still Ballou High School, and we're still one big program. And so everything is a reflection of each other. So I just feel like at the end of the day, we should all be about our kids, whether you raise the money or they raise the money, or even if you are raising the money, why would you not reach out to the girls coach and be like, hey, we're doing a fish fry. If you want to bring French fries, I'll give you $50 or whatever the situation may be. So I guess for me, and just being even on the AAU circuit, I think the coaches, the boys and the girls coaches should work more together. So at the end of the day, it's not just Fairmont varsity boys, it's Fairmont High School. So why not work with each other? Like, if you are doing something, why don't you let the girls coach know the same way? If the girls coach is doing something, why don't you let that person know? So, and also being in recruit, if I'm recruiting this girl and she's like, oh, well, y'all got new shoes, her brother may come there too, so that may help you. Like, you know, we're not recruiting just one kid, we're trying to recruit family. So I just think they got to look at it more like it's for the kids. It's not necessarily about your program and building your program. Let's build our program up. Let's work together. For me, at Ballou.
At Duval, we did, the girls team did a lot of fundraising this year, a whole lot. More than majority of sports. I will say at Duval, me and the boys coaches, we work together. I mean, you know, my whole coaching staff and the boys coaching staff, we're close. We work together all the time. And actually, we had just had a discussion toward the end of the season about doing a fundraiser together to try to get, you know, some equipment and things that the boys and the girls teams can share. It's a budget set. You know this. It's a budget set for both. And if they choose to get uniforms, you know, that's fine. If I choose to get uniforms out of my budget, that's fine too. They said the year before they had like a sponsorship. I don't know if it was Sonitos or something like that. And the first thing I said is, how do I get it? They didn't get it this year, but I sure was sitting there like, okay, so how do we get the same, you know, the same sponsorship that, you know, you all, who do we reach out to? And coach with the, you know, the boys coach, he was like, look, you know, as soon as I get it, I'll give you the information. He was very open to sharing that information with me if they got it again this year. So we work together, you know, really well with sharing information and things like that, because we fundraise every week. The girls did. We had a little cushion for, you know, little things, you know, like the, you know, seniors for the end of the year, for some food, pregame food. You know, we were able to limit the cost. Sometimes, you know, take the whole cost ourselves. So from the gate, I knew that we had to build a cushion for ourselves, and that's why I just started the fundraising from the jump. And actually, we would still be doing it. If school was in, we would still be doing it because, you know, spring league, AAU, things like that. Coach Angie, most of my girls never even played AAU. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was this off season was a big off season for us. You know, it's unfortunate what's going on right now, but it was going to be a big off season for us. And you know how important the AAU off season is. I was trying to build a cushion even for that, so they can, you know, like you said, some of the costs. Coach Andy, you mentioned that before. Some of the costs, the girls can't afford that. A lot of, you know, my older girls, they work, you know, so they pay for a lot of the expenses themselves. So just trying to build that for them. I was trying to, you know, limit the cost of everything. So just to say that the boys team and us work together, you know, good. They did get a sponsorship last year. I was all the way in, like, let's sit down, let's talk. How do we, you know? And he was all in. He was going to sit down. He was going to talk to me. So we're a big family when it comes to that. I just hope for, you know, better opportunities for something like that next year. and try to work it out early. You know what I'm saying? Just like we talked about, try to work it out early, where we could get, you know, at least this kind of food from places for preseason game workouts or something like that, you know. But always thinking about fundraising, and I think, you know, I think the boys team and us, we work together good, and you know, I think it's just a good opportunity for both teams to gel as a family, and because we work together well, I'm hoping for, you know, a big fundraiser for us so we can, you know, get equipment and things like that necessary for the for our teams, you know, to build our teams and make them better players.
All right. Well, we appreciate that insight. Definitely helps me because, to be honest, I don't do a whole lot with our girls program. One, they're never in the gym. Two, they don't want to fundraise because I've reached out and they don't want to. So I've always worried about how to engage them because I'm the type of guy I want to get new uniforms every other year. But it makes it difficult when the girls don't want it and they decline the invitations to come out and do things, and then it's like, all right, well, when I want to do stuff, it holds me up because it's like you got to do it for the girls too, and I'm very reluctant to do things for people who don't want to do things for themselves. So, you know, we'll see. I'll try to tread that line and see what we can do. But Coach O is going to close us out. Ladies, really appreciate your time. Great insight to how to merge the programs, to how you ladies run your programs, and you know, definitely I became a better coach just by listening to your stories and all the things that you have to offer.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, ladies. Hey, ladies, I just want to say one thing to you guys. We want to say thank you. Remain safe. And make sure we get back 2021, man. Our seniors, man, we try so many ways to link with our kids. We don't understand. You understand how much you miss something when it's, you know, the opportunity is not there. And this off season is going to be special for us as well. So just find ways to get better. And this is one of the ways we do it. We call it the sponges. So we soaking up information from you all. We want to say thank you so much for the behalf of the Drive Race Board panel. Give us a follow on Twitter. I already started putting you guys on Twitter. Give us a follow back. This video will be coming out in a couple of hours. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to have this opportunity.
Nice meeting you, Coach.
Nice meeting you too.
Nice meeting.
Definitely got to get up together.
All right.
It's now the opposite deserted. Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Such as giving all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't fuck the system, take the knowledge and study and learn it. Be as strong as the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me hard, now you know I had to thread the needle. You know, I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins in. Yeah, you know, I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins in.